So if you're someone who's a little bit worried about losing progress, losing your steam, or being unmotivated during the holidays, then this video is definitely for you. What's going on, guys? Welcome to day 9 of Vlogmas. So today's video is going to be me kind of chatting with you about ways that you can stay on track or maintain your progress during the holidays. So if you're someone who's a little bit worried about losing progress, losing your steam, or being unmotivated during the holidays, then this video is definitely for you. The first thing that I want to say is it is really important that you are aware of what your goals are. When I'm talking about these things, I mean, implementing even a couple of them can help you big time, but you know your goals and yourself best. So if you're on bikini prep or you're a couple weeks out from something and it just so happens to be the holidays, obviously you know what your goals and situation are best, and you need to follow that and be true to yourself and be honest with yourself, and that's the main thing in all of this. At the same time, enjoy the holidays with your family and friends, especially in times like these. You really want to make sure that you're enjoying the events that you're going to, if you're allowed to go to any. Just take a little bit of stress off of yourself and just enjoy and have a good time, and try not to worry about it too much. We want to keep stress levels low at all times. So I just wanted to get there and say that, because obviously if you are somebody who's following a more strict regime, you're going to want to stay on track with what you're doing, and you can celebrate when you're finished. This video is kind of for somebody who is just trying to stay on track and not lose any progress. So learn some tips and tricks on how to just basically enjoy the holidays stress-free and pick back up in the new year exactly where they left off. These are tips and things that I have used in the past. I have tracked calories and macros for 5 years now or more, and I've competed in a couple of shows. These tips and tricks are things that I have used for many years in the past, and I find that they really help to this day. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and get started with tip number 1. So one of the most important tips I think for staying on track is drinking lots of fluids. You want to make sure that you're not only consuming a lot of water, but just even fluids in general. Keep your body hydrated. When you're drinking a lot of water or liquids, it sends a signal to your brain letting it know that you've consumed something, which then results in you not feeling the urge to eat as much or feel as hungry. So obviously the goal in all of this is not feeling hungry and not overdoing it. So drinking a lot of water will help you mitigate against that. Don't forget that we actually need water to function for digestion purposes, energy purposes. Just as human beings, it's super important that we're always getting enough water in. And if you get to the point where you actually feel thirsty, you're likely way past the point of dehydration, and you want to avoid that at all times, because sometimes when you feel hungry, you're also just thirsty. And additionally, when you're consuming a liquid, especially a colder liquid, your body actually has to heat it up. So we're at a certain temperature here in our bodies, and our body likes to stay at homeostasis. So basically when you're consuming a liquid, your body wants to heat it up, and in order for it to heat it up, it's almost like that thermic effect where it has to actually burn calories for your body to be able to absorb it, and so on. I'm not a huge science person, and I don't get too far into details with that stuff, but when it comes to burning calories or keeping things consistent, you want to make sure that you're aware of all of this stuff. So number 1 tip, drink lots of water or low calorie drinks. Drink your Diet Pop, drink your Crystal Light, your light drinks, make those swaps out, and do what you have to do to get that water in. I personally drink Hydro Surge. It's an electrolyte supplement. I have a couple scoops a day, and it helps me get a couple extra shakers of water in. So I'll link it down below if you guys are interested in that, but that is my number 1 tip starting off for staying on track. The next thing I want to bring up is food hoarding. This is something that a lot of people do, and it's something that I used to do a lot in the past, and it's something that you want to try your best to avoid. So you often hear, or you probably think this yourself, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go out to supper tonight with the girls, or I'm going out with my family, we're going to a restaurant, so I'm gonna skip lunch, I'm gonna be eating bad later, or I'm gonna be, eating a lot later, so I'm not gonna eat a lot today. And that's probably the worst thing that you can do. It's actually counterproductive, because at the time that you actually get your hands on some food, you are starving, you are so hungry, and your willpower eventually dies, and you probably will end up eating more than you actually intended to in the first place, or more than you actually really needed. So if you're hungry throughout the day, you're gonna have a big dinner later, have a couple of snacks, but have a healthier snack, have something super high in protein, eat high volume, low calorie. This is something that I stress all the time. You are able to save up the calories for later if you want, if you have a good approach to it. You don't want to starve yourself altogether. Have some higher fiber, higher protein, more satiating meals and snacks throughout the day, and then that way you won't feel so bad about having whatever it is that you want to have later, and you're also not starving yourself. So by the time you do get to have that meal, you're not totally overdoing it either. You're just eating what you want to eat to the point where you feel comfortable, and then you're enjoying it and you're enjoying the people around you, versus if you're waiting for something all day and then it finally comes, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to stuff my face, I'm starving, I waited all day for this, like I want 2 nachos, I want like 3 pieces of pizza or 3 pieces of dessert or whatever you might do for your holidays. I don't really know, but I know when I used to have that mindset going out to eat before I kind of became familiar with all this stuff, that is how I used to behave, and it usually resulted in me binging or me overdoing it and feeling extremely gross afterwards. So that is my second tip, guys. Do not food hoard. Eat throughout the day, eat as you normally would. Having a meal here and there that's higher in calories is not going to end your progress or ruin anything for you. Everything is great in moderation. It's a great time of the year to be able to just sit back and enjoy. So make sure you're eating throughout the day. That way you won't overdo it when you do get those meals or those desserts or whatever it is that you think you might want. So this kind of leads into tip number 3, which is eating more protein or lower calorie, high volume. I know I just mentioned that, but it's basically 2 separate things. We don't want to food hoard, but we also want to eat higher protein meals. So the great thing about protein is it kind of has that thermic effect too. Higher protein meals help you feel satiated for longer. And when I say that, it means it helps you feel full for longer. When you're feeling full, you're not thinking about eating again, which is kind of the goal. You don't want to be always hungry. If you're always hungry, you're not having a good time. Trust me, I've dieted many times, especially for competitions, and I know that dieting and feeling hungry is not a great feeling, and we don't like it and we want to avoid it. And if you're feeling super hungry and then you get these snacks and treats in front of you, you're going to probably likely pick and snack and have lots of stuff that you probably wouldn't have even really wanted or needed if you had just eaten higher protein, higher fiber meals throughout the day. Protein isn't really a triggering food. When you're eating meat or you're eating egg whites, you're not getting an urge to go for seconds all the time, because you eat it, you feel full, and you're satisfied, and you move on. And you also want to keep protein synthesis going. So if you're not eating for a long time, how is your body going to be able to absorb the nutrients and all the things it needs, especially if you're someone who trains and whatnot? So higher protein, lower calorie, and not food hoarding. Those 2 tips kind of go hand in hand, but look up some higher protein snacks, some things that you can kind of have fun with. The next tip I wanted to talk about is don't drink your calories. And this is something that I also used to struggle with a lot, and then I realized that there's many alternatives and options. You can have your glass of wine, you can have your beer, but you don't necessarily need 12. And if you're trying to have a few drinks or enjoy your time with your family, go ahead and do that, but just be conscious of the things that you're mixing it with. So if you're gonna have a vodka soda, use club soda. You can use things like BCAAs, you can use things like electrolyte mixes, Neo, Crystal Light, and use that as your mix with your vodka or your alcohol or whatever it is you're having, and keep it lower calorie. Try your best to just keep it lower calorie. You can literally go out and buy 100 calorie drinks, 80 calorie drinks now that are, 0 carbs, zeros across the board. Obviously alcohol has calories too, so keep this in mind. 1 gram of alcohol has 7 calories. So you don't see that when you're looking at the nutritional information on the cans and things that you're drinking. You're looking at the total calories. So when you see a drink that has 100 calories and you're like, oh, well, it has no carbs, no proteins, no fats, it's accounting for the actual alcohol in the drink too. So be aware of that. Be mindful that alcohol does have calories. It does exist. Your body is still consuming them just because it's a liquid. And that is just my little thing on alcohol. Enjoy yourself, obviously, and just make healthier decisions. If you know you're gonna have multiple drinks, pick up a 6-pack of White Claw, or pick up a 6-pack of, vodka soda, seltzers, or whatever it might be. And if you find that you don't like the taste, pick up a Mio and throw it in there, or shake it up with some water and some BCAAs like I used to do. And then also when it comes to juices and punches and pop and things that are really high in sugar, just cut it out. You can definitely get the diet versions of everything. Greg Doucette actually touches on this in a lot of his videos. If you're drinking alcohol all the time, that's definitely just as bad or worse for you as what could be in a diet drink. So be mindful of that. I don't want to get into the science of things or the details of things, but pick up the diet version. If you're gonna have a juice, maybe pick the low calorie, low sugar, no sugar added options, or just don't mix it with juice, mix things with water, and so on. Pick up a light beer instead of a regular beer, and those are little swaps and stuff that I used to do all the time. So moving on to the next tip, which is activity and exercise. Obviously, you can have a break if you want one or if you need one. I take rest days. You need rest days. You need to recover. You need to relax, not only for your body sometimes, but for your mind too. But at the same time, you can get out there and get moving. Exercise releases endorphins, which make you feel better. So guys, get out there and exercise. When I used to go out to dinner or I used to go for drinks, I would always ask some friends or family to go for a little walk first, an additional walk to what I'm used to doing. I'd make sure I trained really hard in the gym that day. I mean, I always try to train super hard, but just knowing that you exercised and you got your stuff done and you're productive, it just makes enjoying those drinks or that food or that time with your family when you do relax so much more. So get out there and exercise. Ask your family to do stuff with you. Christmas morning, go for a little walk with your tea or your protein hot chocolate, and ask your family or your parents or somebody to go out with you, spend some time with them, get that quality time in, get your steps in, and get your body moving. You want to keep things consistent, and people are always like, oh, well, I don't want, it's the holidays, I don't have to train, or you shouldn't have to go to the gym. And I remember family members used to say that to me all the time, like, what? Like, why do you want to go to the gym? Like, aren't you supposed to be like relaxing? It's your vacation. And I'm like, I enjoy going to the gym. It makes me feel good. I like it. Like, the gym is not a chore. If you are somebody who is trying to be active and keep progress, the gym should be something that you actually enjoy and you want to make it a part of your day. So don't, hesitate to not work out because others might be influencing you and telling you not to, but also don't be afraid to take a break if you feel like you need it and it's that time of the week where you want to just sit back and relax. Or if you can't get to the gym, it's not the end of the world, but get out and go for a walk, get up and move around, help clean up, do whatever you can do to just get your body moving a little bit extra over the duration of the holidays, and you should be good to go. Also guys, check out my workout videos playlist because there's tons of at-home workouts in there you can really get creative with. So the next tip, which is tip number 6, I believe, I think I'm losing track. I have around 8 to 10 tips written down, but the next tip is stopping when you're comfortable. So just try to remember that food is something that we use and consume as humans to function and live, and it's also something that we eat and we like because it's fun. People really enjoy food. You can get creative with it. It tastes good. It brings people together, and food is definitely a really important aspect, but at the end of the day, food is food, and food is always going to be there. And that is something that really changed my perspective when I started my first prep and I felt a little bit restricted at first. I just remembered, like, food is always going to be there. It's literally always here. You can have whatever you want whenever you want. Just because you're here at a family event and there's 10 pies in front of you doesn't mean you have to have a piece of every single pie just because it's here in front of you, because you're never going to see a pie again. I mean, next holidays there's going to be 10 more pies, or next week you could go to the store and they're probably going to be on sale. Like, there's tons of food around all the time. You can take stuff, you can freeze it. That's what I used to do. I'd try a little bit of everything and then I'd take the leftovers and I'd freeze it and I'd have it for desserts throughout the week. Just make sure that you're aware of that as you are going about your holidays. It's always going to be there. You enjoy it. Eat till you're comfortable. You don't have to push yourself. I mean, it's not a race. Maybe as a kid you might have done that with your cousins or whatever, but now it's more so like, hey, I'm really enjoying this food. It tastes good. I'm full. I'm gonna stop. And you don't have to eat everything on your plate. If you're someone who's tracking and you need to have everything done and whatever, that's obviously a bit different for you. But even then, I mean, if you're taking a break for the holidays, just take it easy, enjoy your food, eat what you like, and then move forward. And stop when you are comfortable. So I believe this is tip number 8, but this one is also discussing healthy alternatives, and it's get creative with your healthy alternatives and bring something that is lower calorie or better for you that that you actually enjoy. So if you're going to a family event or people are coming to your place, have stuff available, have options, balanced options that you can also enjoy, and things that you put some work into, things that are really good, things that you got creative with, and things that you think that other people will actually like, or even if you like them and they don't, at least you can kind of have some more. So for me, that's protein cheesecake. I make protein cheesecakes and the bites all the time. Those are things that I make all the time, and my friends literally don't know the difference. I make them, I bring them, and we all have that as dessert, or I'll have a full cheesecake as an option for dessert, and I'll have a piece of that over something else because I actually just like it better. And it honestly probably has 10 times less calories than the other options that are around. Same thing goes for appetizers or snacks. If you guys are going somewhere, with your friends or having drinks, have a veggie tray out as well, and have a handful of chips, but also have some veggies too, and then you'll really realize whether or not you're full or you're just snacking because it's in front of you. Having things around the house that are going to trigger you and not actually satiate you and kind of help you with your progress is something that you want to try to avoid as well. So if you are going to have things around, just make sure you have balance, get creative, check out my protein cheesecake recipes, check out my other vlogs and my other videos. I'm always talking about healthier alternatives, and those are something that I think that everyone will really enjoy. So that's pretty much it for my standard tips that I actually had written down. I thought there was 10, but I guess there's just a bunch of information within those 8. But I also find having teas and things like that super helpful. So after I eat dinner, I'll have a tea. That kind of goes hand in hand with the liquid thing, so making sure that I'm getting enough liquids in and just being aware of my goals and where I am right now in my journey. If I am, you know, seeing progress and I work out that day and I feel great, I'm probably going to be a little bit less tempted to just overindulge in things that I just know are not going to make me feel good. And being aware of what foods actually just make you feel good. Foods aren't bad, and this is something that I have learned to realize over the last few years, that, you know, no food is really bad. We eat food to survive and live, and it's all about the moderation. So just keep that in mind too, whether this is going into the new year or during the holidays. And, you know, just being aware of yourself, your surroundings, how you're feeling, kind of being in tune with you and your journey and what it is that you want to achieve, as well as, you know, not being afraid to cut yourself some slack. One meal, you know, one day, even a couple of meals or a couple of days are not going to ruin your progress. When you get into the mindset of, oh, well, I messed up yesterday, so I might as well just start next week, or I messed up today, so, you know, I might as well just go binge for the rest of the weekend. When you get into that kind of negative self-talk or negative mindset where you're just spiraling, that's when you start to see the decisions impact your journey in the bigger scale. So, you know, having a meal here and there is really not going to do anything horrible for you. If anything, it's going to release some stress. You're going to probably speed up that metabolism, get things moving, get things going, and it could be really good for you, but in moderation. So keep that in mind. And I honestly truly think that even if you were to implement half of these things I talked about today, you will likely continue to see your progress improve over the holidays, or you'll keep things consistent and maintain them. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. This is something that I wanted to add into my Vlogmas because it's something that I get asked a lot, and it was a highly requested video. So if there's ever anything that you guys want me to talk about or give my opinions on, or, you know, go into further detail on, comment down below, send me a DM. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, guys. It not only lets me know that you're enjoying this content from me, but it lets YouTube know too. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful holidays. I hope these tips helped you, and we will see you guys tomorrow for another day of Vlogmas.